Welcome to Tour Tuesday, everybody, and happy 2023. This is our first
Yes.
Tour Tuesday of 2023. So it's great to see you all. Thank you so much for coming. I know you have lots and lots to do in your lives. So the fact that you're joining us is absolutely terrific. And we're so glad you're here. We have some really, what I think, fun stuff to talk about tonight. We have 3 fabulous tours that we're going to share information about tonight. And we've got our expert, Miss Penny Rudolph, here to talk about those 3 trips. Say hi, Penny.
Hi everybody. Glad that you could join us.
So we've got that. We've got that to do. And then, of course, as always, I'm available for any questions you might, since we last talked. You've got your catalog. So maybe you have some questions related to tours that you've seen in your catalog that you want to talk about tonight. So I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Deb is here to answer your questions, and Lindy is here today. Yes, they worked a full day in the office, but they are still here tonight to be with us on Tour Tuesday. So hi, Deb and Lindy.
Hello.
All right, so we've got a great crowd tonight, and I'm going to start with sharing my screen. We're going to just jump right in because we've got a lot to talk about. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand or let us know, and we'll stop and answer them at the end of each tour. So if you could wait till the end of when Penny's talking about each tour, that would be great. So I'm just going to jump right in. Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard. This is a fabulous tour that we offer year after year. And it's so popular that we have 4 departure dates. So it's a 4-day, 3-night trip. It includes breakfast each morning and dinner on the first night. We have a departure in June, and then we have a departure in August, September, and October. June is a little less expensive because the hotel is priced a little bit less in June. When summer and fall comes around, the hotel prices go up. So we pass that cost along to you. So that's the scoop with why the pricing is different each day. Penny, how many times do you think that you've been to Cape Cod? What do you think?
You know what? My first year, 37 years ago, this summer is going to be 38 years ago. I have been there at least like 4 or 5 times, most of those years.
Wow.
So I have to say venture at least 100 times. Plus, I used to go and visit my aunt over on Martha's Vineyard. I used to go with girlfriends and rent a big house over there. So I've been going there for a long time, and I have family not far from there.
Wow. Wow. So when I say expert, I mean it. I mean it. And not only is Penny one of our amazing tour directors, but she'll also do guided tours of Martha's Vineyard when we need it, or the Cape Cod area. So she knows her stuff up and down. So there's a reason why she's here tonight. I'm gonna let her do the talking. She's gonna take you through this trip day by day.
Okay. Welcome everybody once again. And we're going to be talking about tonight the Cape Cod Martha's Vineyard tour and the Cape Cod Martha's Vineyard Nantucket tour. The first one is a 4-day tour. So I'll go over that tour first, and then I'll continue with what is included in Nantucket. So on day 1, we will travel to Hyannis, Mass. And Hyannis is along the Cape, and it's centrally located because all of our stops we venture out from there. So it's great location. We stay approximately 2 miles from Main Street in Hyannis. They have a wonderful, huge indoor pool, a beautiful outdoor pool, a large whirlpool that fits 12 to 15 people, an exercise room. All of the rooms have a coffee maker, ironing board, hair dryer, mini fridge, and in-room safes. We do have dinner included the first night at the hotel, and the property does have a lounge, the Mad Hatter Lounge. It is open every evening, and they also have a bar menu. A lot of people like to stay there for dinner, but there are like 4 restaurants within a block from the hotel that are all really good. So I think you'd really enjoy that convenience. All right, day 2, we have, and let me go back just to day 1. We have our first evening of buffet dinner included. It is delicious. And we have a choice from beef and chicken. There is always a vegetarian entree, salads, great desserts. And it's a charming room. It's like a greenhouse. Very, very nice. I think you'll like that. So on day 2, and every morning we will have breakfast in the same room. And again, that is a buffet, plenty to eat. So day 2, we will, after breakfast, load up our motor coach and we will head to Woods Hole, Massachusetts, where we will get on the ferry to Martha's Vineyard. This is a very large ferry and our motor coach actually goes on the ferry. So we have the convenience of our motor coach while we're touring in Martha's Vineyard. Once we get there, we'll have a guided sightseeing tour of Martha's Vineyard. It will include the Oak Bluffs area. We'll go along the beautiful state beaches. We will do the Methodist campground, which is beautiful Victorian cottages. You'll see some of the pictures of some of those houses there. We will also go over to Edgartown. Well, you'll have time for lunch and shopping, and it's a beautiful, beautiful town. After our tour, we head back to the ferry in the latter afternoon. We return to the hotel, and you'll have dinner on your own.
We have lunch on Martha's Vineyard, right, Penn?
We have lunch in Edgartown. You have about an hour and a half, 2 hours in Edgartown, depending on the time of the year, how much traffic there is, but definitely enough time. And in Edgartown, it's a beautiful walkable area. I have to say it's maybe 3 blocks by 3 blocks, but if you like lighthouses, you can walk out to the Edgartown Lighthouse. If you want to take the on-time ferry over to Chappaquiddick just to say you were there, you can take the on-time ferry over there. They have a little historical museum or just the beautiful boutiques and shops. And of course, lobster rolls. You'll have great lobster rolls while you're there if you like them. And also libraries. I'm a big library person. A lot of these small towns have beautiful, beautiful libraries.
Wow.
So here you can see Brickman's bookstore on the left. You'll see the beautiful cottages. And these cottages, there are about 360 of them, and they date back to the 1800s. And they're all decorated. Most of them are not winterized. And when people sit on the front porches there, they actually look like giants on their porches because they're little tiny homes, but they're really quite beautiful. And down at the bottom, you'll see the Norton House from Norton Virus that has been rebuilt. That's a beautiful house, and that's on the Village Square, the Ocean Park area, and you'll see that as soon as we get off the ferry.
Wow, beautiful.
Okay. So day 3, after our breakfast at the hotel, we are going to travel out to Provincetown. Provincetown is a very tip of the Cape where the fingers are, and we will have a guided riding tour of the historic sand dunes on the protected lands of the National Seashore. Cape Cod National Seashore was started by President Kennedy, and it protects 43,000 acres of protected land. And Arts Dune Tours have been having tours out in the dunes since the 40s, the late 40s. It is the only company now that is actually permitted to go out through the dunes. It is safe. You are in Chevy Suburbans, they're air conditioned, and our guides give excellent tours of the dunes, their history, their geology, abundance of information, and they're really fun folks, really nice. People end up saying this was a highlight of their tour. It is absolutely beautiful. We see a lot of the artist shacks where people live there, but part of the National Seashore, because it is now a national park, people who own homes there can only keep the homes for 2 generations. Then it goes back to the government. It becomes our national park. And of course, they pay fair market value for them. So it's really something quite to see. It is beautiful. And the town of Provincetown itself is beautiful. There's over 500 galleries. It's located right along the water. great restaurants, lobster rolls, of course, all other kinds of food. And it's a lot of fun to walk up and down the streets, people watch, and a lot of great things to do there.
I noticed on the Chevy Suburban in the picture, the tire is not blown up all the way.
Right,
Because
and that's because when you ride on the sand, you have to take half the air out of the tires. And that's the way you ride on the sand. And the people that go fishing out on the beaches, they only take these SUVs and the air has to come out, or else you get stuck in the sand. This is the only way you can travel. And people at first will say, oh, there's not air in the tire, but this is the way you drive on the sand. So
Makes
it's all safe, it's all good, and it's a lot of fun.
oh, that's
So day 3, as we continue, we have lunch on our own, lots of great places. And once we do leave Provincetown, we're going to spend a little more time on the Cape Cod National Seashore, and we'll view the Highland Light, which is also known as the first light in the Cape Cod Light. It was commissioned by George Washington, and it still stands today. Quite a number of years ago, that lighthouse had to be moved because it was in danger of falling into the ocean. So the house and the lightkeeper's house, I actually, over a period of 5 years, was able to see the gradual movement of that house, the new placement of the house. And when we take our coaches there, we take you all the way past the lighthouse where the original one was seen. They have a little viewing area where you look out over the Atlantic Ocean. Sometimes we see seals, sometimes we see whales, and it's a really beautiful sight. You can see the beautiful, picturesque, colorful town of Provincetown over on the right-hand side. And here you see a group of our people out on the sand dunes, because we usually, if we can, take a picture stop out there, and everybody was having a great time.
looks like so much fun.
It is great out there. So after we leave the lighthouse, we'll continue and we'll go to the JFK Memorial in Hyannis in the Barnstable Harbor. The Kennedy family spent most of their time in Hyannis Port, which is a neighboring town. And when John Kennedy was assassinated, the town wanted to give back, and they built this wonderful, wonderful memorial that looks out over the bay. And it is where all the Kennedys learned to swim, where they learned to sail. And it is a beautiful, pensive, reflective place. And it's one of my favorite places to take pictures. So after we leave there, we head back to the hotel, and you'll have dinner on your own. And for the Cape Cod Martha's Vineyard tour, the next day, day 4, will be the day that we head home. And for day 4, we will have our breakfast, we'll pack up, head to Mystic, Connecticut, and we'll spend time at Old Mystic Village. It's a recreated village dated back to the 1800s. They have a church, they have a little mill pond, they have ducks, and they have all themed shops and restaurants. And it's a nice place to spend your last day before we head back, have our rest stop, and head back to our various locations.
Awesome.
So that is the 4-day tour. And when we add Nantucket to it, the first 3 days are the same. The 4th day and 5th day are different. And here you can see we have dates in May, June, and two in July, 1 in September, 1 in October. And if you have the time, if you have you're able to get off and do that extra day, I highly recommend, because a lot of people that do this have done the 4-day before, then they come back because they really love the area, but now they want to see Nantucket. So I'll tell you what we do in Nantucket on our 4th day. So we'll have our breakfast at the hotel, and we will take the round speed high ferry service to Nantucket. And this is a catamaran, and it usually takes 2 hours to get out to Nantucket, but this 1 hour we are there. It's comfortable. They have Wi-Fi on board. You can be inside, you can be outside. And once we get off, we'll go over to the transportation center where we'll get on little like jitney type vehicles, and we'll have guided tours of Nantucket. And we see, I have to say, at least 65–70% of Nantucket on this tour. You could never see all of this on your own. The guides are wonderful. Not only do they give a lot of history, but they have great sense of humor. So we'll see what it's like there, and then we will have time for lunch and shopping and browsing before we get back on the ferry to head back to the Hyannis area. Usually what we do, because we're down in the waterfront, those people who would like to on this particular day, if they want to stay at the waterfront down in Hyannis, when they come back from the ferry, they can have dinner down there, and we'll come back in a couple of hours to pick them up, or they can go back to the hotel and have dinner in the area there. After that, day 5, breakfast is included. We check out, travel to Mystic, Connecticut, where we'll have our lunch and browsing around, whatever you like to do, and we travel home to our final destinations. Either of these 2 tours, whichever you do, it is beautiful. There's one couple that comes on this tour for their anniversary just about every single year. And they just love it. They know what to expect. They actually will go on the dune rides. They'll go on the Nantucket ride because they just enjoy it so very much. And it is just lovely. You'll see one of the lighthouses that we stop at Nantucket, the Sanctity Lighthouse. It's a beautiful lighthouse, and the waterfront, many of the old clam shacks where they would shuck the clams have been turned into beautiful little boutique shops, and actually they've been made into homes, these little tiny things about the size of a garage for about $1.5 million. It's really nice to see how the other half lives.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is so Nantucket is significantly smaller than Martha's Vineyard.
It's, you know what, it's smaller. Everything is more spread out, and I must say, Provincetown, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket are completely different. They're all completely different. No 2 of them are alike.
Mm.
And Martha's Vineyard is about 40 miles long, whereas Nantucket is maybe, I want to say maybe about 8 miles long. It's really completely different. They're shaped differently. The towns are really, really small in Nantucket. In Martha's Vineyard, you have some, you know, when I say a decent sized town, if it's 3 blocks by 3 blocks or 4 blocks by 4 blocks, that's a big town. Because we're talking about on the island, and everything you have there has to come by boat. Every single thing, and every restaurant, every hotel, everywhere you go has to come by boat.
Wow. And our bus goes on the ferry to Martha's Vineyard, but not on the
Yes.
ferry to Nantucket.
Yeah, that's correct, because Nantucket is an old whaling town. So the streets in the downtown area are all cobblestone, because they use the ballast from the ships to eventually do the streets. So they're all cobblestone. They're very narrow. Our bus could never maneuver through those streets. It's not good. What we do on the smaller vehicles, it's much better. And we get about 25 people on each of those vehicles, and they're air conditioned. So, and comfortable.
And how much walking would you say is required on this tour?
All right. I would say, I always believe that when you go out on tour, you want to step out of your box. Everybody has a little comfort zone, and you need to step out of your box. And if you're going to see things, I always, and I know the tour directors will always recommend things to do. If you want to see a lighthouse, you walk this way. If you want to go see a secluded beach, you walk this way. You want comfortable shoes. You want sneaks. You don't want fancy heels and sandals and those kinds of things, especially in Nantucket. And I do tell everybody, put your sneakers on for Nantucket because of those cobblestones. Mm-hmm. You want to be a safe traveler, so you get to see everything. And you want to take care of your feet and yourself to make sure that you're comfy, and you have sunscreen, and you might want a little jacket if it's chillier on the water. So you need to be able to walk. A wheelchair or a walker cannot deal with the cobblestones. I will say that. I have seen that, and they have to like stay on the wharf where the boat is. They cannot venture out into the town. And that's for their own safety, because the wheels get stuck in the cobblestones.
Understood.
Okay.
Boy, that was a lot of information about Cape Cod. I love it. That's why we're here. And I invite you to ask any additional questions if our guests would like to ask Penny anything, or anything related to these tours, or anything else that you might want to ask before we move on to the Montreal Jazz Festival tour.
You know, I will add that when we do our tours, your tour director will recommend different restaurants for you to go to, depending what you like. All restaurants in most resort areas will have their menus posted outside. You can go and eat casually, you can eat expensively, and your tour director will give you that information, because there are a variety of options in different places.
Yeah. There was a question in the chat. Patricia recently took a trip. I don't think it was with Starr, because this is not ringing any bells, and they couldn't take the ferry because of the weather. Do you have a contingency if that happens? And the answer is yes. We're always in touch with the ferry companies. So we watch the weather before each trip leaves. And if we have to adjust either the timing of the ferry or the day of, the ferry, we can always change our trip to Provincetown by a day. So there are contingency plans. And if for some reason, the weather is bad on multiple days and we can't get over to either of the islands, then we will come up with other things for us to keep busy throughout the day. And another question, Penny, are reservations suggested for lunch? Or is it like a walk-up type situation?
I would say you don't need reservations for lunch where we're going. However, if you want to eat at the waterfront, if you do the Nantucket tour, the day you come back, we're usually there at the restaurants by about 5:30, but you may want a reservation then, especially if you're on the Wednesday to Sunday tour, because you come back and you're at the waterfront on a Saturday.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So no lunch reservations, and possibly sometimes dinner reservations, depending.
I see something. How long is the commute to the destination?
Yes, Lillian's asking, I think, like, how long is the bus ride? Like, approximately what time do we get to the Holiday Inn in Hyannis?
Okay. A lot of that depends on whether you're leaving on a Sunday or you're leaving on a Wednesday. It depends on the traffic, whether there's a ball game, whether this is going on, whether it's a work week. We are usually at the hotel by 5 o'clock. If we are running early, we sometimes will make something a little extra stop. And I don't want to say anything but we will do a little extra something. So people will have the opportunity. It depends on the timing, but 5 o'clock we're there, and our dinner is usually scheduled by 6:30 on that first night.
Great. You guys are learning how to use the chat. Thank you. That's great. Let's see. Oh, Sharon went last year with Penny, and they had a beautiful time, and a lot of walking. They say a lot of walking.
But it's good walking.
It is.
You have good food. You have good food, and you want to walk, and you have comfortable shoes, so you're good.
Exactly. It's all about the preparations and the expectations, right? Deb and Lindy know this, because we always want our travelers to be prepared and to know what to expect.
And always make sure if you go onto the website and you look up the tours, it'll always have a section of things to know, and it'll tell you whether you need sneakers, whether it's walking, if there's certain kinds of weather or whatever. Look at that and look up and find a little information. Go on your phone, your tablet, whatever. See what it's like up in Cape Cod. So you're kind of know a little bit before you get there.
Great advice. Great advice. All right, are we ready to move on to Montreal? We're going across the border.
Yay.
We'll come back. If you have more questions, you can ask them about Montreal or about Cape Cod. So we'll come back after we talk a little bit about Montreal. So this is the Montreal International Jazz Festival. We have not been since 2019 because of obvious reasons, COVID, and then we couldn't get across the border for a couple years. So we are extremely excited to bring folks back to this jazz festival. It is one of the largest and most popular music festivals in the world. It brings artists from everywhere, and you can see the big crowds down there. I don't know, I'm a little crowd averse. I don't think that's indicative of how everything is, but it is a great trip. It's the end of June 29th to July 2nd. It's a 4-day trip. You do need your passport, so keep that in mind. I think it's well priced at $899 per person based on a double. And it includes breakfast each day. So again, Penny is quite the expert. She's escorted this trip and she's been to Montreal a number of times. So I've invited her to take us through the day-by-day itinerary of this tour.
Okay, and first, I just want to say about that picture with all those thousands of people there. I've actually been there when it's been like that. And it's usually when it's Canada Day, the Saturday night, Canada Day, because everybody's coming out. But on your typical night, your Thursday night, your Friday night, it is not going to be like that. But they have big draws, famous people come, well-known people. And this is a free concert. And the interesting thing, if you come to this area, 8 o'clock the next morning, you won't find one piece of trash there. I mean, they clean up, take care of everything. So this is the largest jazz festival in the world for jazz, but they do have all kinds of different music. And from about 11:30 in the morning till midnight, this area, and it's about 6 square blocks. They have different venues where you can go and see different concerts. So we'll talk about day one and we'll go through the tour. And first you're going to see a picture of the Best Western Ville Marie. And I call this a boutique hotel. It is a charming hotel. There's about 9 or 11 rooms on each floor. The rooms are lovely. The staff is lovely. And it's located right on the Golden Mile. It's equivalent to our 5th Avenue. It's adjacent to McGill University, to Mount Royal Park. It's a block away from the Underground, the metro system, and to all shopping. And it's just a great property. So we're going to travel to Montreal. And it's a straight shot. You go right up the Turnpike, New Jersey Turnpike, up 87, right to the border. You cross the border, it's 15, and we will stop for lunch on our way up before we stop at the Canadian border to clear customs. And what they have been doing, because it used to change all the time when you cross the border, everybody comes in. Everybody brings their passport. If you are a family, you can go up to the border guard together. You go through, we all wait together, we go through. I was just up there in February. I have to say our group was in and out within about 15 minutes. It was really great. So once we get up to Montreal, we'll check into the Best Western Ville Marie and you will have dinner on your own. Now, the hotel has a new restaurant that is opening, I believe it's sometime in March. They're going to specialize in steaks and seafood. They'll have salads and burgers. I actually spoke with the new owner of the restaurant, and he's really looking forward to it. I saw him in February when I was there. But they also have a cafe, and it's in the little greenhouse section. You can see at the front of the hotel, and they're open until about 7:30, 8 o'clock. They have excellent coffee, all kinds of pastries and quiches, sandwiches, salads, a great little place. They actually have little pizzas also you could get there, and you sit along the greenhouse. So that makes it really, really convenient. So on day 2, we will have breakfast included at the hotel, and you will see that the Guest rooms include a coffee maker, a mini refrigerator, an ironing board, a hair dryer. And as I had mentioned, it's in very close proximity to everything, restaurants, boutiques, underground, the metro system. And being that you'll be there and you're going to have quite a bit of time on your own to explore, a lot of people will find time to do things in Montreal that they may not have had an opportunity to do on another tour. All right, so day 2. In the morning, we're going to have our breakfast included at this new restaurant, and we will have a guided sightseeing tour of Montreal. We'll have a local guide that speaks English, and they will take us to Dominion Square, Place Bonaventure. We'll go past the courthouses, Old Montreal, the harbor front. We'll go by the Olympic Park, the French Quarter. We'll go to the top of Mount Royal Park, where we'll see Beaver Lake and have a beautiful view of the city. We'll go through the financial district and by McGill University, which is also right adjacent to our hotel. Once we come back to our hotel, and that's around 11:30, you will have the remainder of the day on your own to attend the events for the Jazz Festival. Lunch and dinner is on your own. Now, let me tell you about the Jazz Festival. The hotel is located like 5-6 blocks away. So it's a nice stroll right down either Sherbrooke or St. Catherine. Or if you want to take the metro, it's 2 stops on the metro you can take there. And there are maybe 600-700 concerts altogether. About 500 of them are free. Some of them you pay for. They would be in either clubs or in some nightclubs. It could be in their convention center, but it's all within the area of Place des Arts where this whole event takes place. I have had people that have come on the tour and they have purchased tickets in advance because this is a Thursday to a Sunday tour. So if there's an event you would like to see, go on your computer, your phone, look up Montreal Jazz Festival. You'll see the schedule. And if there's anyone you would like to see, you can purchase tickets in advance and you'll have them to go up there. For Thursday night, I would not get anything earlier than 9 o'clock at night. Only because it's the day we come up, crossing the border, checking into the hotel. I wouldn't want you to miss anything. Oftentimes on that first night, after people get settled, they have a bite to eat, they're going to walk down to see the Jazz Festival. And they will have, as I said, little sections where they will have different events. And when you get the schedule, it will tell you what time at which venue where you could go to see all of these wonderful shows. And you may want to, during the day, go to the botanical gardens, go to the shows at night. You may want to go and see the shows all during the day and do other things in the evening. You have the opportunity to make it the way you want. It's your vacation, your time to spend it the way you would like. So as it says here, there's lots of little jazz clubs. There are outdoor shows. Concerts, the majority of them are free to the public. And during the span of, I believe it's like 10 or 14 days, this festival is phenomenal. If you look at the top picture, you'll see this is like at nighttime. They have all the lights and the strobe lights with the entertainment. Here during the daytime, people milling around. And, you know, there was controversy about whether or not people could bring their like little folding chairs. They had them little carry things. At first they said no, but then they let the people in with them. So if you have a little travel seat that you could put over, I wouldn't carry a lawn chair with you, but something you could put over your shoulder that folds up, you can do that. But there are places you can sit. There are walls in the grass and different places you could sit. The bottom picture is just a photograph of looking down Sherbrooke Street. A couple of years ago, they had this big, wonderful, I guess it was in 2019, probably. They had all the flags of all the countries, really quite beautiful. So the next day, you'll have breakfast at the hotel, and you have all the time to explore and do what you would like to do, to see as much music, jazz, or explore the city. They have wonderful museums and theater and things like that. I saw you, and I did speak with the tour director that's doing this tour this year, and she did tell me she will be available in the mornings after breakfast. If you need her help, where to go, what to do, she'll be there to help you. And I will say, Evie, who was doing the tour, she raised her children for 7 years in Montreal, so she does have some knowledge of the area. So she would be a good person to interact with. And the last day, we'll have breakfast at the hotel. You'll have your luggage picked up, we'll check out, we'll cross the border, and we'll have lunch en route to our way home. I do just want to make a note. When you go to Canada, a lot of people are now aware of things you can and cannot take into Canada. You cannot take fresh fruit across the border. If you have any of those CBD oils or your own prescription marijuana, you cannot take it into Canada because it's not legal in our country. I'm just letting you know in advance for your safety that you have to leave those things at home. Okay, and you can't take that $10,000 with you, but I've never had anybody do that.
Good to know. Good to know. Great presentation. Very good. Thank you so much, Penny.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's see. Does anybody have any questions about the Montreal trip?
Sandy, can I just ask you, are you allowed to bring your own chair so that you have it for all the shows?
Yes, you are. We will have room on the bus. I can say that because we usually won't fill this bus all the way up to 56 passengers. So we will have room if you want to bring, one of those chairs that you like sling over your shoulder
Right.
with a strap, or a blanket perhaps, so that you can sit out on grass. You're more than welcome to bring one of those chairs and or a blanket. Absolutely.
Thank you.
We don't need your electric school buses anymore. Aha, it's going to manipulate the weather for last month.
Let me mute that. Penny, approximately what time would we get to the hotel? I know there's the whole
Right, it's crossing the
customs.
border. I would say between 6:30 and 7. Usually around 6:30. It could be up to 7 if there's any issues at the border. Please make sure you have a valid passport and it is not within 6 months of expiration.
That's key. You may think you may see that you have a valid passport, but it's actually not truly valid if it expires within 6 months. So make sure you have, it's far out.
And real ID cannot get you across the border. The driver's license or the real ID, that cannot take you across the border.
Correct. She's right. And going back to the marijuana or CBD oil, that may be legal in certain states, but you cannot cross the border with it, and especially the international border. And if you do try to and they catch you, you will be left behind. You will be left behind.
And I will say it is legal in Canada. I did have a gentleman, just to share a very quick story, who had medical marijuana because he had Alzheimer's, and in order to sleep at night, he had to have marijuana because he shook so badly. So I told him he couldn't take it. He said, well, he was informed, he was allowed to take it. And I said, no, we'd leave you at the border. So he did not take it with him. But I did tell him when he was up there where he could go to get it for the time that he was there, and that he couldn't bring it back with him. So he went there and the line was like 3 blocks long, and the policeman came to him and said, sir, you need this more than anybody else in this line. Took him right up to the front of the line. So if you have a situation like that, don't bring it with you. On this particular trip, there is a place about 3 blocks away where you can, if you need it for medical reasons.
Thanks, Penny. Thank you. Any other questions about the Jazz Festival? Great. Awesome. There was a question, a leftover question from Cape Cod, Penny. While at Martha's Vineyard, will you be able to shop?
Yes, when you're in Edgartown, most certainly. Edgartown has beautiful little boutique stores and shops. Really very nice. And usually, depending on the time we get back to Oak Bluffs, you usually have maybe half an hour, 45 minutes there to go in town, get an ice cream. If you want to stop at a black dog shop, something like that, you can do that.
Awesome. Awesome. There are two ways to book your trip. You can give Deb or Lindy a call in the office where we are available 9 to 5. If nobody answers the phone, do leave a message. It just means we're all on the phone, but we will call you back as soon as we can. Or you can book your trip online, which we welcome you to do, and that's 24 hours a day. I will, let's go. Did I not? There we go. I was not sharing that. So now I will share it so you can see who you're talking to, Deb or Lindy, or you can book right online. So just to go over some of the availability, all of these trips are available. I do expect some of them to start selling out, especially as the coupon has a week left. People tend to wait till the end of that window. But if you're interested, I'll tell you the tour directors for each of these tours. Again, all of them do have availability. Your Cape Cod 4-day, the June 4th through 7th is Jane Peters Estes. And August 6th through 9 is Christine Durling. September 20 to 23rd is Evie Simon. And Christine Durling also escorts the trip on October 1st through 4th. The 5-day trip that includes Nantucket. Penny is escorting 4 out of the 6 tours. So Penny's escorting May 14th to 18th, June 7th to the 11th. Then Andy is escorting July 5th through 9th. That's Andy Byers, sorry. Penny is escorting again July 26th to 30. Evie Simon is escorting September 10 to 14, and Penny is escorting the last trip on October 11 to 15. And then, as Penny mentioned, Evie Simon is going to be the tour director for the Montreal Jazz Festival, and she is very knowledgeable about Montreal, having lived there for many years. I see, Penny, you're getting lots of great feedback on the chat. Lots of people have traveled with you and thought you were great. Joyce asked a really good question, and I'm glad you mentioned that, especially because this last week of the coupon will be busy. If you book online, how do you apply the coupon? So I apologize, but our computer system does not allow coupon. It's not built to allow a coupon code. So if you do have the coupon and you want to use it, just give us a call. Don't book it online because there is no place to put in the coupon and you won't be able to get it. So just give us a call. We'd love to talk to you anyway. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that we're not quite up to. Our technology on booking is not quite up to speed yet. Oh, and here's a great question. How do you get a coupon? Yvette, I will tell you a secret. Just tell us that you have a coupon and we'll give you. Deborah and Lindy know what the coupon amounts for. They were in the catalog that we mailed at the beginning of the year, our 2023 vacations catalog. So just mention a coupon and we will give you the coupon. I think, Deb, you know how much. It's $5 for a day trip. Then what happens?
And it's $15 for a 2 to 4 day, 20 for a 5 to 6 day, and 7 days or longer, it's 25. And if you are, thank you, Lindy, for shaking your head and agreeing with me. And if you're a new customer, make sure you tell us that as well, because new customers also get bigger discounts.
Yeah, the first time you travel, you get a bigger discount.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
And if you're referring somebody or somebody referred you, that helps as well.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Penny, a question. Abby said, my husband uses a cane. Would that be a problem with the cobblestones?
Okay, is your husband stable with the cane?
Let's
Yes.
see.
He's
Yes, he
stable
is.
with the cane?
Yes.
At every corner, you have to make sure he crosses from corner to corner because they have bricks in there, which makes it easier to get from one block to the next. I would not walk across the street on the cobblestones, but at the corner
Yeah.
to corner. Okay, they do have that at every corner there.
Great.
Okay,
Yes.
and you hold on to him.
We'll hold each other.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're
Great
welcome.
questions. These are great questions. This is why we have, tour directors like Penny who are, actually escorting the trip, and they understand, they've done this trip many times, and they can answer your questions, with confidence and with the knowledge they need to have. Deb, is that Frankie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess, all right, tell Frankie to hold on. I'm muting you. We'll be right. Tell him not to go anywhere. We have a special surprise for Frankie. So he's not going anywhere. I'm going to talk 2 more things before we go. One, Deborah mentioned our Refer a Friend program. We do not want to be the best kept secret in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. We want lots of people to know about our trips. Why? Because that means we can offer more trips and more options to you. But how do we get well known other than paying lots of money to advertise? Is through you. We would love for you to spread the word about Starr Tours. I'm not embarrassed to ask. We want you to spread the word because we know, and we hope you know, that we have wonderful tours for you to experience and make memories on. So we reward you when you refer new travelers to Starr. The new traveler gets to save, but you also can earn discounts on future trips with us. And whenever you refer a new customer, your name gets entered into a sweepstakes to win $100 each month. So we have this wonderful refer a friend program, and we invite you to tell your friends about it. You can go onto our website to find out more information, or you can give Deborah or Lindy a call, and we'll be happy to share with the information with you, because again, we want lots of people to know about what we do, because again, the more people we have traveling with us, the more tours we can offer you. We do have a winner. We do give a $25 gift card when you attend a Tour Tuesday. And I am pleased to announce that winner for today is Cindy Peterson. Is Cindy still on? Let's see.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
I hear her. Congratulations, Cindy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Excellent. Congratulations. I'll have Deb reach out to you probably tomorrow or the next day, and you can see if there's a tour you want to put the $25 towards, or just hold it for the future. It's up to you. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I wanted to say that I am from Montreal, and I lived there for the first 24 years of my life. And I could be happy to guide people too when I'm there. I can't wait. I've never been at the Jazz Festival. It's going to be a wonderful thing to see.
And
Are you going?
Cindy, you were on tour with
I
me.
will.
You were on
Oh,
tour
yes.
with me.
I remember you. Yes.
I remember you, and you, the man that owned the restaurant, you somehow, the teaching school, somebody knew somebody who knew somebody, and you had your family come and meet you there.
Yes. Yes.
I remember that at the restaurant. Yes.
Penny's memory is, I don't know, it's like a vault. It's like she remembers everything. All right, we're going to end this Tour Tuesday with a bang. For those of you that follow us on Facebook, and if you don't, please do follow us on Facebook/Starr Tours. You might know a special guest named Frankie Ayers. Frankie is Deborah's And it is his birthday today. So Deborah, I think, is going to get, there's Frankie. So let's wish Frankie a
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday from all of these people. Or I'm unmuting you, Deb, because, or you have to unmute yourself because maybe Frankie will talk back to us. There we go.
Look, baby, here's
Happy
Frankie.
birthday, Frankie.
There. Happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday, Frankie.
All right, so
Happy birthday,
who's coming to
Frankie.
the next tour Tuesday?
Yeah.
Me.
Birthday.
Let's
I
see
thought
when
she
that
gonna-
is.
Happy
That's
birthday.
April
April
4th.
4th, Tuesday, April 4th. And oh my gosh, I'm what are
7
we?
o'clock.
What are we talking? Yeah,
You
thank
did
you.
the time right.
I should know. I should
Yeah,
know.
Niagara Falls, the Skyline Drive.
Oh,
Canal.
God, you guys are the best. So what are we talking about, Penny?
Niagara Falls, the
Okay.
Skyline Drive,
My baby.
and I know
Erie
there's something
Canal.
else.
Oh, so
And you're,
cute.
oh, Niagara Falls, New York.
Yeah, happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Okay, then you guys got to come. You guys got to come. So we always have a good time on Tour Tuesday. You could win. You could sing happy birthday to Frankie, and you could learn a lot about any of our tours. So I will say thank you. We're going to sing an actual happy birthday to Frankie. So if you want to stay on the phone or on the call, feel free to stay on to sing. But if not, we'll see you in April. And thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Great job, Penny.
Bye. All right, we're gonna
Happy birthday.
yeah.